NXT by Firestone in 2024. Green from St. Pete.
Jack Miller looks like he had contact coming out of turn 3.
One more corner for Nolan Siegel. He's going to start off 2024 in style with a win in the opener at St. Pete. Looking for the green. Let's go from Alabama. They jump out of line in the back to try to avoid a stack up.
Jamie Chadwick on the inside. Oh, and hits the curb and spins.
And he's going to get it done because it's gone yellow as Jacob Abel is a winner. This is May and this is Indianapolis.
It's harder to go the long ways around on the outside.
Back on the main straightaway, looking at the yard bridge. Jacob Abel has won in Indianapolis. Back to back for Abel. Watching for green. They're already fanning out. And here we go from Indy. Collette is going to try to hang on to it, and he goes to the front. Looking to the outside of James Rowe. Look at they make contact. Siegel takes a ride through the grass. Looks like Foster has some good straight line speed. Into turn 7, Louis Foster up to second. Trying to go inside right here, side by side. Very difficult to pass, has gotten it done. Andretti and Louis Foster have won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Concrete Canyon, we're ready to go for round 5 of 14. How about this? Kyle Collette has gotten it done on Jacob Abel into second. Switch back for Callum Hedge, going to the inside of Jacob Abel for third. Chadwick side by side with Abel.
Yellow.
Nolan Aller, Niels Cole, and Christian Bolville all stacked up. This win today for Louis Foster is going to move him very much back into championship mix. It feels like summertime because we're at America's National Park of Speed. It's Road America.
Big contact into turn 1.
Oh, it's Miles Rowe and it's Jordan Missick. Up the hill. Final run to the line. Jamie Chadwick is an Indy NXT winner. Yes. It's the first of 2 this weekend from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Up into the corkscrew. That is a bold move. Yuven Sunamworthy gets the position.
The first of the doubleheader, Laguna Seca, is dominated by Louis Foster. There's damage for Yuven Sunamworthy.
Oh, that is a heartbreak.
For the second time this weekend, let's go from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Meanwhile, it's gone away for Reese Gold again.
Late move with Jacob Abel.
It is going to be a weekend sweep.
It's been a great weekend, sunny skies in California. You know, you can't ask for anything more.
That'll get you up to speed as we roll into the second half of the Indy NXT by Firestone season. Wrapping up 4th of July, Independence Day weekend in the Heartland. Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, where it has been lovely since a little bit of rain on Friday. It is warmer today, but still very nice for early summertime. Low 80s the high today. Thank you for joining us. We are ready to go for IndyCar Weekend coming up at 1:30 on NBC. First, it's Indy NXT by Firestone. Kevin Lee and Mid-Ohio IndyCar winner Charlie Kimball, who is joining us on the IndyCar broadcast this weekend as well. All right, it's time to get serious. We're into round 9 of 14 and starting to separate in the championship. Who's in play still?
For me, it's a 3-horse race. We've got Kyle Collette, Jacob Abel, and Louis Foster. Those 3 drivers have separated themselves a little bit. They continue to be in the conversation week in, week out.
Foster has taken control with the doubleheader sweep. He is on a roll with 4 of the last 5. But don't forget, we've got a lot of ovals coming up. Foster will be strong. Abel will be strong. But Kyle Collette maybe is ready to break through today. Just a few moments ago, DJ Clark talked with the Brazilian.
Well, hi, Charlie. Hi, Kevin. It was a red-letter day if your name was Kyle Collette, as you were able to take your first Indy NXT by Firestone pole position. Kyle, what can you do with it here today at Mid-Ohio?
Hopefully get the win. I think we've been looking really quick since Friday. The car has been amazing, to be honest. And yeah, for sure, I think we have some good competition behind us, but let's focus on our race. Hopefully the race will be boring for me. But yeah, let's see what we can do, and hopefully we can get away with the win.
All right, well, we'll be watching for that. And that competition that Kyle mentioned, the main one he's going to have to watch out for is Louis Foster. Louis has won 3 of the last 4 races, and he better capitalize here today because we head on to ovals next, which traditionally hasn't been his strong suit. He's been doing a lot of work in the offseason, but he's still got it all to play for this season.
Foster is quick again, and he was in Group 1 of qualifying, so yes, Collette was the fastest, but keep an eye on Foster and Charlie. This has been an Andretti track in recent years.
Yeah, and I spoke with a mechanic from Andretti Global this morning. coming into the race today, and they said they thought they found some stuff, but they knew they were fighting a rear guard action in qualifying. Louis didn't think he could put it on pole being in Group 1 yesterday. Now they do control their own destiny because the groups are set by practice time. So had Louis been fastest in practice, he'd have been in Group 2 and maybe look at that track record and pole time that Caio Collet got.
And everyone tested here as well. And Louis told me coming into the weekend that HMD was a little bit quicker in the test. So they have figured some things out. We should be in store for a good one today. The drivers are strapped in. We're just about set to go for 35 laps of Indy NXT racing today. Wrapping up the 4th of July weekend. Time to get them cranked up. Let's go down to the grid.
Today, including Jack Harvey, they've all won here as well. It's time to go trackside to go racing in Indy NXT.
The engines for your Grand Prix, the INDY NXT Firestone Grand Prix at Mid-Ohio. Here's your Grand Marshal from Firestone, Carl Madison, to give the command.
Well, that's the sound we most want to hear. We have
Here's
19 Indy NXT
by Firestone, starting
engines
live.
fired up. And we also have some IndyCar radio audio in the background as well. Welcome to Mid-Ohio. It's time to set the grid for today's race. And as mentioned, Caio Collet with his very first pole. He had started second 4 times. Now he wanted to change as he's finished second 3 times, looking for that first win. Louis Foster starts on the front row for the 5th time.
And inside of row 2, Jacob Abel, he's second in the championship. He's lost some points recently, looking to come back. Callum Hedge with his best starting spot today here at Mid-Ohio.
In row 3, Reese Gold in the Ticket Clinic car will start 5th. And Christian Brooks, who's been busy racing in USF Pro 2000, had a fantastic Indy NXT debut weekend at Laguna Seca, starts 6th.
And inside of row 5, Jonathan Brown equals his best starting spot here in the Indy NXT by Firestone Series. And Nolan Aller, another one, getting his best start in that Martini branded car.
Miles Rowe is going to start on the inside of the 5th row. Josh Pearson is going to start next to him.
And then Jamie Chadwick, we saw that highlight package, former race winner. Christian Bogle's got 4 top 10s to his name here in Indy NXT.
Row 7 has the Group O IndyCar with Andretti with Cape Motorsports. Salvador De Alba Jr. and Bryce Aaron coming off his first podium at Laguna Seca in the Jaguar Land Rover machine today.
And Yuvan Sunderworthy just off the podium twice at Laguna with 2 4th-place finishes. A small problem maybe rolling off pit lane, but he is getting back up to speed. And Jordan Missick in his 4th race.
And Sunderworthy does get to retake his position. He was slow rolling up the pit lane. James Rowe in the Top Con car had surgery a week and a half ago. He discovered a broken bone in his thumb, so he is challenged a bit. Jack William Miller in the Patterson Dental and Avengo car will start next to him. And then Jagger Jones is back, the grandson of Parnelli Jones, who spent last season with Cape Motorsports in the Adriel Foster Care car for HMD. Will be joining us for the weekend, his only confirmed start. It's time now to find out the keys to the race and Kimball's keys.
Well, one of the big topics of conversation this weekend here at Mid-Ohio has been the new track surface. This whole racetrack has been repaved. You can see it, it's uniform. For our viewers at home who've watched Mid-Ohio before, they're used to seeing patches and ceiling strips and things like that. This bump that's usually here in the carousel is gone now. Totally changes the profile of that corner. It's a new surface, but it is the exact same guys up front. Those 3 cars that are top 3 in our championship are the first 3 in the grid. And it's all downhill to the championship from here. Caio Collet wants to close that 84-point gap to Louis Foster, who's starting next to him on front row. He's got to do it today. He's got to get that momentum going. Steal momentum from Louis Foster. When you talk momentum with these young drivers, Louis Foster has all of that. Jacob Abel's got to do some damage control. Knowing that he might be a little stronger than Louis Foster on the ovals, he's still got to steal some points here to head into the next few races.
Well, this is critical for someone like Colette, who does not have oval experience. If he's going to be a factor, he's got to take advantage of today and try to learn the ovals as we go. That's what's in store next week at Iowa. You've also got Worldwide Technology Raceway, Milwaukee Mile, and Nashville Superspeedway. So it is oval heavy to finish this season. They are going to, remember, start in the kinks. They're not starting here as they come onto the front stretch. Restarts will be here. This is the finish line, but the start line is coming out of the keyhole.
It is a really unique trait here at Mid-Ohio. That front straight is too short to get enough rows lined up and get clean starts. The pace car is pulled off. The field is in the hands of Kyle Collette as they come up to turn 2, affectionately known as the keyhole. They will start from turn 2 through that kink, which is turn 3, down to the best passing spot into turn 4.
Black, green, and yellow car. Number 18 is the control car. The black and orange car. Two different teams. The powerhouse teams, HMD and Andretti, on the front row. They're championship leaders. The other championship contender right there in the black and red car in row 2 is Jacob Abel, the 51 on the inside. Callum Hedge next to him with his best start of the season. It's time to go for Mid-Ohio. And Colette gets the early jump, but there is a big draft going into turn number 4, the first turn of the race. Colette in control. He gets through, but not everyone does. Bryce Aaron goes flying, and he brings others with him. That is Jordan Missick in the red and white 21 car, also trying to keep it going through the dirt, and he cannot.
He is stuck down there in China Beach. That is a big downhill, big gravel trap. They're still going side by side there into turn 9. It's a blind crest. Car gets light, wants to snap on you at the exit. We see Salvador D'Alba and the Grupo Indy car sliding around across that crest.
Nothing but wheel spin. He's not going anywhere, and that is going to bring out a full course caution. Well, Bryce Aaron coming off that podium at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, trying to continue the momentum. He also is beached. Let us see what happened from further back. The leaders get through single file, and then we see a lot of 2x2, and we saw Aaron get up in the air. Jack William Miller also went for a ride too.
It looked like they went 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide maybe. I think Jamie Chadwick might have had some contact further in the middle from the 14 car. She was kind of in the middle there, got squeezed by the 14 of Josh Pearson, bounced into Bryce Aaron, and then everything else cascades from there.
So keep an eye if Chadwick has any damage. Looks like Jack William Miller got through okay. He was able to keep it out of the sand trap. And this is under review. It's going to be tough to officiate. It is so tight through there when you're trying to go 2 and in some cases 3 wide.
And it's hard to see what exactly caused that. To me, my first look is it's a racing incident. You're on a start, you're going 2, 3, 4 wide into a corner that should be a 1-lane racetrack, sometimes a 2. It's hard to officiate that. One little domino when you're that close and stacked up on top of each other just cascades and takes a couple cars into the gravel.
From first look, I'm not seeing any damage on the 28 Andretti car of Jamie Chadwick. It's not so good, though, for the 27 of Bryce Aaron. Let's listen to his comments from a few moments ago.
Fucking just drove into the side of me.
Copy that. Are you okay there? How much damage do you have?
Trying to get the things fired. I think the left rear to the right rear is plus.
Little damage to that car through the gravel, parked in China Beach. That gravel trap down there is known as China Beach because so many cars end up in it.
But unfortunately, Bryce Aaron is already a lap down, 2 laps down at this point by the time they get him extricated. Same case for Jordan Missick. And there will be no action taken on that start. Impossible to assess blame, I think, in that one. All right, let's take a look at this course, Charlie.
We talked about that unique start line, the run down to turn 4, China Beach on the outside. There is a lot of elevation here at Mid-Ohio. It leads to some blind corners. The over the top, that crest in turn 5. Turn 1, though, is a big commitment corner. It is fast. When you come out, you then go uphill to the keyhole in turn 2 and back downhill to turn 4. And it's even more downhill as you park in China Beach. This shot even shows some tire tracks through the gravel. Pretty consistent. Turn 9, out of turn 9, down through Thunder Valley. Turn 11 is almost as fast and a huge commitment section that leads you into the carousel. Like I said, it's all been repaved. Got a little bit of rain on Friday, and there was a little more grip in the rain than expected. Coming off Mid-Ohio in the past, anytime it rained, it was like an ice skating rink. But this weekend, that new paving looks like it's got a little more grip.
What a shame for Jordan Missick, who has been racing Radicals this season and has done a few Indy NXT races in his rookie season. But he is, if he even continues, is going to be multiple laps down. Down to DJ.
Well, Kevin, Bryce Aaron just came down into pit lane. It is a very, very dusty car. The team wasn't able to tell if there was any damage on it from when he was driving out. They're going to do a thorough inspection here. I don't see any problems on the front of the car, and it looks like the rear of the car is relatively okay as well, so we may be able to see this number 27 back out on track.
And no reason to take a chance at this point when you're not on the lead lap. Simply make sure the car is right. Let Bryce Aaron continue to learn. Remember, all of these tracks are new for him this year. This is the first time that he's raced in America, even though he's from Illinois. He's been running in the UK and internationally.
Yeah, and there's some small damage pieces. That piece that moved there is just an under tray stay or a support for that wing, because so much of the downforce on these cars, despite the wings being big, a lot of the downforce is actually produced by the floor underneath. That stay helps hold the floor up when the downforce wants to suck it down. But there looks like they're going to take the engine cover off and make sure there's nothing bent in the rear shocks, the rear geometry. We're getting word from race control. The lights are out on the pace car. They will come to a green on the front straight this time, not where the original start was.
That's a tricky turn 1 section in the run down to the keyhole, so there are really a couple of passing opportunities on the restarts. Down to turn 2, the keyhole, and then back down to turn 4. Nolan Aller with a nice message. Hi to Mom. Pace car is off. We're going to get going in just a moment. So no change up front. Collette, Foster, Abel, Hedge. Brooks moves up a spot into 5th, then Gold. Nolan Aller picks up a spot 2 and 7th. Brown, Pearson, Bogle, the top 10 right now. And we are ready to go again from Mid-Ohio. Kyle Collette looking for win number 1. Gets a great jump. Louis Foster behind him. Abel. Hedge is right behind Abel. He's going to maybe have a little look coming into the keyhole.
That was a great restart. Kyle Collette leading this field. He's led earlier in this year. Louis Foster, great run out of turn 1 that time. Closes up. Little racing further back. Nolan Aller side by side. It's hard to go the long way around the outside of turn 2. Good job giving each other racing room, though.
Jonathan Brown on the left maintains that position. Actually gets that position, so Brown did go around, but Aller's got to run. Coming back, trying to go the long run. Meanwhile, we see that Miles Rowe is off pace. De Alba, Sundermorthy in the 22 car. De Alba in the green and red car, jockeying for position just outside the top 10.
Not many great overtaking corners on this section of the racetrack, but it's really tough. It's blind, a lot of blind crests, a lot of high commitment corners. It's easy to make a lot of easy mistakes here that cascade in momentum through the rest of the lap.
Collette by about 4 car lengths on Foster as they cross the line half a second further back to Abel. Miles Rowe, we saw him off pace for a bit. DJ, what do you know?
I just had a chance to talk to the team. There was an alarm on the dash, and then the car kind of switched over into limp home mode. Now, Kevin and Charlie, that car had a fuel leak before it went out to the grid, so I wonder if it could be something connected to that potentially.
Yeah, that limp home mode for a driver is when you know something catastrophic may be going wrong. So we see some moves down, Christian Bogle, Salvador de Alba side by side through turn 4. But it's a way to protect the engine, protect the electronics, so you can get back to pit lane. Hopefully they can reset that or figure out what's going wrong.
Meanwhile, Josh Pearson at green and black car has been working on Nolan Aller, trying to get up into 8th position. He's had a couple of looks so far, so we've got a few battles on the racetrack going. What a shame for Miles Rowe, who I think got off to a really nice start to this season. But this is going to be 3 of the last 4 races, finishing in the back. 19th, 17th, somewhere around there this weekend. Did have a 6th in the first half of the doubleheader at Laguna Seca. Christian Brooks has picked up a spot. As mentioned from the start, running in 5th. Here is De Alba again, peeking around, trying to go the outside of Christian Bogle. Bogle maintains it.
Solid defense there. Christian Bogle knew he didn't have the momentum coming off of turn 2, moves to the inside to defend. Salvador De Alba trying to go the long way around the outside into turn 4.
Let's see if he can stick it. It is side by side going into 4. Bogle gives him room, maybe just dropping a little bit. They play very nice through that section. De Alba is going to get it done. Sundermorthy now trying to take advantage of the opportunity. He's working on Bogle.
That is a textbook outside maneuver into turn 4. You have to get far enough alongside that you can maintain a car width at the exit. Bogle, he kicked up a little bit of dust there.
A lot of people will run somebody even wider than that. You are at the discretion of the driver on the inside. How far does he want to move you?
But then if you can hold that outside, you're on the inside of turn 5, and as the road falls away, you want to be on the inside because it gives you the ability to get on the gas and accelerate down the hill to the corner.
Well done by Salvador De Alba to move up into the top 10.
And it's not done. I think Christian Bogle might have the exit off of turn 2 here, help him down into turn 4 and see if he can repay the favor to Salvador De Alba here.
Christian Bogle's been doing some nice things this season as the competition continues to get stiffer. He finished 7th and 8th at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and he's coming back. And Sundermorthy is going to try to go around the outside too. De Alba gets split, and Sundermorthy and De Alba make some contact, and there is wing damage for De Alba. Further back, Chadwick and Jagger Jones. Jagger Jones is trying to move forward that number 33 Adriel Foster Care car.
And the 21 with that wing damage is falling like a rock.
And De Alba has fallen to the back now, so up into the top 10. Contact in 3 wide for a moment, going into 4 at China Beach. Let's see it again on the left hand of your screen. Bogle gets him. Sundermorthy tries to come and decides to come with him. I need to see it again to know for certain which one it is that touched him.
So there's contact from the 21 to the right rear of the 22 car. You see him get sideways.
The 2 and the 22 look like they make some contact as the 7 of Bogle comes through. So this will be under review.
So Sundermorthy is like moving back to the right, not holding his line. De Alba's there. They know each other there. Oh, contact the 29 on the 28. We saw wing damage.
And that's teammates.
That's a great shot to see that damage as it happens.
Wing.
Radio calling straight away for a front wing. Jagger Jones takes advantage.
It's been tough sledding for James Rowe. So he broke a bone in his hand and his wrist at Detroit and did 2 more weekends and 3 races with that. They thought it was simple ligament damage, but he said it was getting worse and worse. Finally went for more imaging, and he had surgery done right after Laguna Seca, so less than 2 weeks ago, and he said it is sore. There's limited movement. He's got a brace on it, and here he's got front wing damage as Jamie Chadwick goes through.
And he gets up on the curb, and that throws the front of the car out into the right rear of Jamie Chadwick. Be interesting if the officials review that.
Well, they're just finishing up another review. As we take a look at Kyle Collette, the race leader, by about a second now on Louis Foster. And Ruben Sundermorthy is being deemed responsible for that contact just a moment ago with De Alba Jr., and it is a drive-through for Sundermorthy, coming off a double fourth place finish weekend at Laguna Seca. Really, I think, a breakthrough weekend for Juven. He is one of now getting close to a half a dozen that have had difficulties in this race. Here's Jagger Jones in the 33, right in front of De Alba Jr. So this is, De Alba Jr. is a lap down. Yeah, he's a lap down. That's where he had rolled in the pit lane. So Jones is in 14th. Rowe is way back in 15th as he is dealing with damage. And now that incident between the Andretti Global teammates is under review between Chadwick and Rowe.
Race control has had their hands full this morning. They've been plenty busy up there reviewing all the videos and all the incidents.
So we're up to everyone from 14th on back has had something go wrong. So that's why you go ahead and fix the car and try to get out there. There may be some more points that can be scored today. There's Josh Pearson running in 9th and is still within range of Nolan Aller. Aller's having a really good day. Remember, for Nolan Aller, he's very mature when you talk to him. He's 22 years old, but this is a huge step that he's made this season. He's been doing a lot of SCCA racing. It's like a Formula 2000 car. It's Formula Continental. He's done a lot of Formula Ford racing, F1600. This is a huge step. How significant is that for Aller to be competitive this season?
It's not just the speed of the car, it's the size of the car, it's the speed of the weekend. And when I say the speed of the weekend, it's how quickly things come at you. This weekend they had 2 practices straight into qualifying, straight into the race. That's not a lot of time to develop an understanding of what's happening and what the car is doing and how to make the car better. It's also the physical element. That's a big, fast, heavy race car compared to what he was doing. And so it's the understanding, the mental speed to keep up and stay ahead of the car during the course of the weekend. So things happen really quickly, and it's not only physically but mentally taxing when you take such a big step like that.
And then there's Josh Pearson. You see that green and white car behind him. And remember, Josh is still just 18 years old. He ran the Rolex 24. He was 15. He did Le Mans just after he turned 16. A lot of experience. And now we have lap traffic dealing with Kyle Collette, and that's brought Louis Foster right back on his gearbox now. That is helpful for Foster. His teammate James Rowe, who's trying to get back up to speed after the wing damage, he is going to let the leaders come through here, but that bunched him up just a little bit. It was a second. For a moment, it was down to a couple of car lengths or so. By the way, no action on the 28-29 contact with Rowe and Chadwick just a few minutes ago. So while we watch the leaders and see if Foster can continue to stay within range of Collette, let's check in again with DJ.
Well, Kevin, I've been able to catch up with HMD's AJ Smith here, and AJ, gotta ask you, Kyle Collette has been so close so many times to being able to taste this victory. What are you telling him here today to maybe get him over that hump?
I think we don't want to talk to him too much. Nobody wants to get in his head. This kid's a winner. Everybody can tell that already. We just got to get over the hump.
Well, with somebody like Louis Foster behind him, is there any strategy you're employing, maybe a little bit of save of that push to pass, anything like that, to get him over that hump?
Yeah, our guy, I'm not going to give you too many secrets there, but our guys are really good on the push to pass stuff. And he's just going to have to take care of the tires and keep Louis in his mirrors.
All right, well, we're not going to get too much out of AJ here. He's played his cards close to his chest, but he's got a pretty good driver out there, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, we do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and DJ, that push-to-pass system, it's an opportunity for the drivers to control how much extra horsepower they get and for how long. You can turn it on, turn it off. Typically, the most efficient way to use push-to-pass is out of the corner, to get the momentum of the car going. It is the most efficient for lap time out of the corners, but if you're using it to overtake, you want to use it all the way down the front straight, all the way down this run into turn 4, and it gives you that 50 horsepower boost. Now, most drivers, you'd like to turn it on, but it's limited to that 150 seconds during the course of the race. So you have to manage it just like you manage tire wear with the Firestones. They degrade over the course of the race as the fuel burns off. It's a hot day. It's new asphalt, a new surface we talked about. It's still rubbering in a little bit. So it'll be a lot of management for both of these drivers that are in each other's mirrors, or in the mirrors of Kyle Collette for Louis Foster.
I think A.J. Smith's comments on Kyle Collette were spot on. Most of the paddock agrees. We know this 22-year-old Brazilian from Sao Paulo is really good. He won 3 times in FIA F3. That does not happen if you are not talented. He finished second in Formula Renault Eurocup, won 5 times there. That is a significant European series. And he also made his debut in Formula E, so he missed the Iowa test. That's not good. Worked out being okay because it rained all day and only a couple of cars got on track. He thought he was just going to have to go there to be on standby, and it turns out he was called up to race, did some nice things in practice, and got a lot of experience. And now that means he will have visited a track that next will run at Portland, and he will have been there. Here's the battle for 4th, which is still good, and Christian Brooks continues to impress in that deploy surveillance number 39 car for HMD essentially took over Nolan Siegel's seat, so you know it's a good ride. He's doing double duty this weekend. He had a podium finish in USF Pro 2000, so he's got a lot of laps on the track, but how whipped is he going to be by the end of this weekend?
Oh, he's going to be tired. Mid-Ohio is one of the more physical tracks we go to. There's not a great place to rest and catch your breath here. There's a lot of rhythm and sequence corners. The air temp, track temp continues to climb. It's a bright and sunny day. The weather has been great after that quick thunder shower that came through on Friday afternoon. And for Christian Brooks, he's going to be feeling it. And I was talking to a lot of the drivers in the USF series. All 3 series ran this weekend, multiple races, and it's pretty hard work. But the fact that he's out here, he's running inside the top 5, and he's got his eye on Callum Hedge just up the road for 4th. It's a really good result. Callum Hedge doing a great job. It's his best starting spot ever in Indy NXT, and he's translated that so far. He's hold position at the start, and now he just has to manage to keep Christian Brooks behind him.
Yeah, he is really, really talented. A lot of sports car racing back in Australia and in New Zealand. Porsche Carrera Cup champ last year in Australia, but won the Formula Regional Championship, the Formula Regional Oceania Championship. And the guy who got him over here, Steve Horn. A lot of people remember Steve Horn. Tony Kanaan is one of his proteges that he brought over. He is responsible for Callum coming to America. Dominated that championship last year with 13 wins, 16 podiums in 18 races. That's some HRC scholarship money to come over here. And he's got a podium this year. He's got a 4th place finish. So the 20-year-old is right on schedule in his first year in Indy NXT. Right now hanging on to 4th position in today's race.
A little bit of American branding there on that Christian Brooks car with that American flag on the engine cover. It is 4th of July weekend. There were fireworks here at the track, outside of the track after the sun went down last night. I think we're going to see some great fireworks on the racetrack all day long today.
So that's the battle for 4th there, and Brooks is gaining. Took a little peek, not quite close enough, but he's quick. Fast laps haven't checked in those yet, and they all just came in the last lap. Collette turned the fastest, Jacob Abel the 2nd fastest, then Foster, then Sundermorthy with some clean air a little further back, and Jordan Missick, another Abel car. So 3 of the top 5 Abel Motorsports cars in fastest laps of the race.
But the last lap, these 2 cars ran a lap time within 600ths, within half a tenth of each other. So they're right on the same pace.
Edges gap just a little bit. There's Reese Gold, having a good run. Ticket Clinic could probably get some business this weekend because there are lots of opportunities for people coming to and from the track here at Mid-Ohio this weekend. So we'll just mention that if anyone is in need over the weekend. Here's Jacob Abel running in 3rd here today. One of the championship contenders. There's points as they run for the moment. A lot of ovals still to come on the season where both Abel and Foster are experienced and are quick. Down to pit lane and DJ.
Well, Kevin, I actually had a chance to talk to Jacob earlier this week about the second half of the season. He was bullish on his prospects. Hear what he had to say.
particular is a little bit of an unknown. We didn't get to test there, and it's going to be a completely new surface. So it's all going to be up to whichever team and drivers adapt the quickest, and I feel confident in my ability to do that. You know, I feel like that's one of my strong suits as a driver, especially on ovals. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to Milwaukee. We had a great test there. St. Louis as well is going to be awesome, and Nashville is going to be, you know, something unlike we've ever done in these cars before. So yeah, all of it's going to be pretty interesting, but I think it's going to mix things up a little bit, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, and I spoke to Jacob Friday night after the first practice, and he was a lot further down in the results than we're used to seeing him. And he looked and sounded very confused about where the lap time and speed was. He was struggling. He thought the tire was weird. He said they ran some old tires, didn't feel quite right. The new service, their setup wasn't really compatible yet. But for him to have found the pace in Saturday's practice and then go into qualifying, qualify third, and running pretty consistently here in third. He's got his eyes a second up the road to Louis Foster, or a couple seconds up the road to Louis Foster and Caio Collet, who has just over a second there of Louis Foster now. They're continuing to manage that gap. I think if I'm Louis Foster and I think I've got the speed, I'm managing my tires, I'm managing my push to pass, and waiting, staying out of that dirty air, not taking anything more out of the tires than I have to until right at the end of the race.
As they burn off some fuel, laps continue to get quicker. Fastest laps on lap 18, just over a lap ago, and it's still Collet and Foster that are the quickest in this race. We mentioned Christian Brooks running in USF Pro 2000. It has been busy with testing beginning on Thursday in USF Pro 2000. Nikita Johnson, who dominated the early portion of the season, back in style. He sweeps the weekend in that championship and is now back in play in the championship. Loki Hughes still has a 26-point lead over Johnson. Jace Denmark is in third. In USF 2000, Max Taylor wins 2 of 3. Evergore's Papasavas also wins 1 of the races, so Garcia leads Taylor by 42 points in that championship. And in USF Juniors, Max Taylor is running both of those championships. He won race 1, leads the championship by 9 points over Liam McNeely. The young Brit, Liam McNeely, won his second race of the season, taking race 2.
The Juniors and F2000 race ran back-to-back on Friday evening. And the start of the second race was delayed because Max Taylor had to get out of the car. They held the podium. He got in the other car and went and raced. And literally they did 2 podiums, 6 spots, only 5 drivers because he doubled it up Friday night.
Also had some rain racing on Friday in the junior categories, which led to some mixed up results. This battle for 6th now is what we're looking at with Reese Gold. Actually, there are 2 battles. There's a battle for 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th. So we kind of watch both of those. Jonathan Brown is having a nice run in the number 23 car for HMD Motorsports. The 23-year-old from Dublin is working on Reese Gold. And then Christian Brooks is still chasing Callum Hedge for 4th.
We'll see if Christian Brooks can parlay any of that racecraft experience he got in the USF Pro Championships this weekend and figure out a way past Callum Hedge. Callum looks like he's got really good speed, and being faster than him doesn't mean you can go past. Mid-Ohio is traditionally a very hard racetrack to pass. The straight's not particularly long. You come out of a slow corner, you go into a slow corner. It's not one of the easier tracks to pass on. But Reese Gold there seems to have pulled out a little bit of a gap. Jonathan Brown equaling his best starting spot here in the Indy NXT series. So really good racing throughout the field. Maybe not as much passing as you'd see at somewhere like Road America, but great subtle racecraft from these young drivers.
DJ, I saw Miles Rowe back out on track a few minutes ago. Now he's back on pit lane. What do you know?
Yeah, it's going from bad to worse for Miles Rowe. They now have a throttle position sensor error. So they have got the front end of the car open, digging down into that open area by the driver's feet and trying to assess that. Charlie, I'm sure you can talk to just how frightening that might be.
Yeah, it's terrifying when the throttle pedal isn't reacting as expected because these are all fly-by-wire. And what do I mean by that? A throttle pedal, there's a sensor that tells a computer how much to open the throttles on the engine. And if those have the wrong conversation or a bit of a disconnect and you come off the throttle and the engine doesn't, that's the scariest one. It's safer, but still really frustrating as a driver when you go to the throttle pedal and the engine doesn't react.
Let's check in on Jamie Chadwick, who is turning some quick laps back in 11th. Some radio communication there.
Target lap time 12.1 if the tires can take it. Think about making speed in 11 and 1. Yeah, I'll push a little bit harder now. I trust your judgment on the tires.
Did he just say target lap time is 12.1?
No, in 11 and 1.
Oh,
Those
okay,
are the two fast corners on the racetrack, and I think that comes to a conversation about managing tire degradation. These tires wear out. New tires are always faster. So is saying she can push a little harder there, take a little more out of the tire before the end of the race.
Well, her last lap was right on pace with the leaders. She is about a half a tenth, maybe a full tenth off of Kyle Collette, quicker than Louis Foster, half a tenth off Jacob Abel. So circumstance has put her back in clean air and back at the pack, but Jamie is quick. Yeah, there's a look at last lap times. And Kyle Collette still has the quickest lap of the race, just bettered that again a couple of laps ago. And his gap is now nearing 3 seconds on Louis Foster.
I don't think that's management from Louis Foster. I think this is just outright pace. Kyle Collette set the track record yesterday in qualifying. New pavement helps for sure, but he was fast. He led laps earlier in the season. It's just a question of leading the last lap. And a 3-second gap over championship leader Louis Foster. We said he needed to win today to keep his championship conversation alive, and he's doing everything he needs to so far.
He still would have a lot of work to do, and he's going, every track is new, but ovals are going to be very unfamiliar. So the favorites are still going to be Foster and Abel because of their experience on the ovals and these specific ovals. But don't count on Kyle Collette. What he's really doing is he's building a resume for the future, and he's one of those that is likely going to come up in conversation, potentially moving up to IndyCar next year, or does he decide to do another year in Indy Next and really go after the scholarship and the championship? I would think it would make sense for Louis Foster and Jacob Abel if they can find an opportunity, which is going to be challenging. There are not going to be a lot of seats available, and there is a lot of competition. But Foster and Abel probably feel like, yeah, I've done what I need to do at this level. I'm ready to move on. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody else. This has been the weirdest IndyCar season.
Times are quicker than everybody ahead of you.
Jacob Abel has talked before about maybe we will do an IndyCar race at some time this season. I keep an eye on that because I know this Dale Coyne has open spots the rest of the season. It has been fluid. There have been different people in the cars every weekend, so just keep an eye on that.
And I'm hearing rumors that there'll be an Indy Next graduate on the IndyCar grid at an IndyCar race coming up shortly. I think it's not been confirmed, so we can't say it. I won't say it, but seeing a driver that has won races here in Indy Next, getting a shot in the big cars, and I think it's smart for somebody like Louis Foster, Jacob Abel, if they have the opportunity, get that experience in IndyCar before you take on a full season role.
My guess is Foster will probably continue to focus on this championship. He is going to want to win the scholarship. He's in position to do that at the moment. Let's go to pit lane and DJ.
Well, speaking of Louis Foster, we're down here with the Andretti Global team, and I've got to ask you, Don, thinking about Louis and where he is right now, are you thinking championship in the long run and not trying to overpush the car and run into a mistake?
We're always trying to do that, yes. I mean, today it looks like he has a pretty good car. We're just kind of biding our time right now. I think we're less than 10 laps. We got a little bit more push past than everybody else. Everybody's probably holding on to tires right now. Degradation has been pretty tough with Firestone this weekend for us and for all the lights cars, it looks like. So that might be where we all end up today, is just a little tire degradation and just trying to hold on to where we started.
Well, is it a huge boon to you, the fact that Jacob Abel is behind you right now and that you're able to still grow that championship advantage?
That is a help, yes. Yes, that is a help. I mean, you always want to score as many points as possible, and today that's what we have to do.
All right, well, it'll be a good result here if Louis is able to hold on to it. Good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's some days when you just concede the other guy is quicker, or sometimes it's the other lady is quicker, which was the case what he did at Road America a few weeks ago. He said, I don't have anything for Jamie Chadwick today, so I'm going to finish second, and I'm going to grow my championship lead. That's how championships are won.
And if you remember, during that race, he was having conversations with the team on the radio about getting some help from Jamie. He said, I don't have anything for her, but if she could help me keep Jacob Abel behind me, that helps in the championship conversation as well. So there is some teamwork when you're holding steady like that, when you're working off the same plan. You can help each other a little bit.
Let's go back to DJ.
Well, talking about that big championship, Kevin, I actually had the chance to talk to Louis Foster about the championship as a whole, and particularly what the rest of this season is going to look like for him.
Oh, I love ovals, man. They're so much fun. I haven't done many in my life, obviously, just coming over. I've done 4 so far. But, I mean, I've got a good record on ovals, 50% podium rate. You know, I won my first ever oval in USF. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. We were fastest at Milwaukee test. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do the Iowa test because I got rained out. But, yeah, I think we're going to have a good car. I've done a lot of prep over the winter on ovals specifically. And, yeah, I love them.
I expect him to be strong. I expect Abel to be strong. And then it will be a learning experience for all the new drivers. It's going to be new for Kyle Collette. It's going to be new for Callum Hedge. Christian Brooks has experience. Christian Brooks has driven a little bit of everything. He's driven global rallycross cars. It'll be good experience for him.
Seems to be prescribing to the have helmet, will travel
sure
opportunities in racing.
Let's check in with the 51 team. What are they telling Jacob Abel, or what is he telling them?
My tire's falling apart.
Ooh.
Yeah, 10-4. Let's just bring it home then if the tires fall apart.
Foster's.
Well, good position, though. He's got a 13 or 14 second gap on that final podium spot. So let's explain. How do you manage the tire? It's one thing to manage the tire, but how do you just
nurse it?
Get home, yeah.
Yeah, this is a nurse it situation. When you've got 13 seconds and 6.5 laps to go, quick math, that's 2 seconds a lap. He can drop down 2 seconds a lap compared to Callum Hedge, and they won't catch him. So he's still running similar lap times, maybe a little slower, only half a second. So he's got some pace in hand to back up and get some breathing room on that tire, take care of it, nurse it home. I know he wants to push Louis Foster and Kyle Collette. Any racing driver wants to keep going, but he's still on the podium. He's still damage control with an eye towards the ovals coming up, coming into the season. I think Jacob Abel thought the oval heavy section of the season could favor him.
6 to go.
Keep him updated on laps so he can continue to manage that tire.
Up to 3.5 seconds now for Kyle Collette. Foster and Abel still in very good position where they're at. It is still TBD, really all the way from 4th to 11th. So things can get mixed up a little bit there. Let's talk about Jagger Jones for just a bit. I know he's running in 13th, but, you know, let's be honest. He's not been in one of these cars since September. He has moved forward. This is back to being new for him. And keep in mind, too, he's done 2 years of Formula car racing. He did a rookie season in USF 2000 with Cape Motorsports 2 years ago, finished 4th in the championship, won a race. And then last year in Indy NXT made the big jump up, finished 13th, doing 13 of the 14 races. Before that, he'd done some stock cars in the Arca Menard series, late models, after a lot of karting. This year, Jagger Jones has been racing in the IMSA VP Challenge Series. He's done 4 races in an LMP3, has won and dominated all 4, has been on pole in every race he's done in that championship since the INDY NXT season, so he's going quite well there. But what's the challenge for this? Getting back into a Formula high downforce car here where everybody's been doing it for half a year.
And people say, oh, it's the same race car. Race cars are race cars, right? Race cars are very different. They are apples, oranges, and sometimes baseball bats. It's a very different type of beast, and it takes a while to get back in, back comfortable. With big downforce in these cars, how you apply the brake pressure, how you come off the brake pressure, how you load the tire, get it hot in its operating window, how you continue to manage that tire wear. You can hear the tires screaming for grip around this new surface. And so that just takes some grip out of it. And as a driver, all of those things become muscle memory at this point of the season. But when you're jumping in and out to a sports car to this, it's good experience, but it's hard to really optimize.
Ariel Foster Care is the partner for this event. They're based in Ohio. They got a lot of kids here this weekend, so there's a chance they're working on maybe being able to do more later this season. Yuvan Sundermorthy, who had the damaged wing early, that's why he's so far back. He's quick, and he's working on Jagger right here. We're inside 4 laps to go now, and we are getting set for IndyCar here. The Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio is coming up 1:30 on NBC this afternoon. Make sure you're with us pretty quickly because it is a quick pre-race show. Opening ceremony is about 5 minutes after we go on the air today, and the command, I think, is at 1:45 Eastern, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Does anybody have anything for Alex Palou?
Well, I think the only person that might have a shot at Palou is Pato O'Ward, the front row. Those 2 drivers, Pato was so disappointed not to get pole yesterday within 3 1/1000ths of a second. The only Chevy in the top 6. And if you tune in on NBC, you might hear some familiar voices. Kevin Lee here in the booth and myself down on pit lane.
Don't do too good of a job. I want it back. Coming up next week at Iowa. See, all the leaders are starting on primary tires, the top 14. I think some others will have a say. Maybe Scott Dixon's got a little further to go, but he's won 6 times at Mid-Ohio. And it also opens up the hybrid era. So a lot of things to talk about in IndyCar coming up today at 1:30. Inside 3 to go. So there's the race at the back of the lead lap. Let's go to the front of the lead lap where Kyle Collette continues to pick him up and put him down. Just turned the fastest lap of the race a couple of laps ago. He's inside the 110s. 110.789. Louis Foster also quick, but not quick enough. And this last lap is where Collette really started to gap.
With 2 to go, Kyle Collette, other drivers are talking about managing push to pass and tires, and he keeps going faster. He's not talking about bringing it home as we see a car in the back of the screen. Christian Bogle just running wide. That's up in the keyhole, locked up under braking. You know, those Firestones putting a lot of work in here under 35 laps at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, but Kyle Collette, he's just got so much pace today. Clean air, smooth laps, no mistakes, got a good start, got a great restart. He's disappearing up the road now.
Bogle only lost a spot with that. He was in the top 10, so Jamie Chadwick now into the top 10. Looks like we're going to have some really good days. I think this is a solid day for Josh Pearson. It's going to be the best day of the season for Nolan Aller, running in 8th right now. His best finish has been 10th. Good day for Reese Gold. How about Christian Brooks, running in 5th right now? This is his 3rd Indy NXT race, making the jump up, and he's finished 8th, 7th, and potentially 5th. That is impressive. Callum Hedge with a chance to get his 3rd top 4 of the season as the white flag has been seen and gone for Kyle Collette. So under 2 miles to go as Sundermorthy is still trying to get one more position on Jagger Jones.
You talked about good days for some drivers. This is a great day for Kyle Collette. Just started up front, track record, disappeared. He's over 6 seconds to the good in front of Louis Foster, who's still your championship leader. We said he had to win today to stay in the championship, And so far, he's done exactly what he needed to.
Now, Foster did not have to win. He came in today plus 35, so he's even going to expand on that championship lead. Collette, though, keeps his hopes alive, and he's now down to a couple of corners to go for what might be a breakthrough for him. He's 22 years old from Sao Paulo. Could he be the next Brazilian IndyCar driver? Kyle Collette is going to win for the first time in Indy NXT by Firestone. First win in America. Kyle Collette wins at Mid-Ohio.
Louis Foster extending that championship lead in second, but Kyle Collette, the paddock, knew he was a race winner. Today he proved it.
Jacob Abel does manage the Firestones going away. He gets a podium, scores solid points today. And a lot of battles to sort out throughout the field as well. Callum Hedge is going to go home fourth. Christian Brooks finishes in fifth. Gold is going to get sixth.
Look at that respect from Louis Foster, recognizing Kyle Collette had the pace and got the job done. Race winner to race winner there.
Jonathan Brown hangs on to 7th, Nolan Aller 8th, Pearson 9th, Chadwick 10th. Rounding out the top 10, then Bogle, Miller, Jones, Sunderworthy all on the lead lap. A lot of issues for others. Rowe, De Alba, Missig, Aaron all finished the race, but not on the lead lap. And Miles Rowe had to retire early. Here are the final results again in visual form. And it's a first win for Kyle Collette. The breakthrough after coming so close so many times. Second 3 of the last 4 races. Now he's a winner in Indy NXT. For Louis Foster, he continues his fantastic season. So his results since the second race at Indy. First, second, first, second. Is that okay?
That'll do. That's
Yeah.
a championship run of results.
Let's see how the championship looks now at this point with 9 of 14 completes. And an oval heavy schedule still to come in the championship. At Iowa coming up next week. Then Gateway, Portland, the last road course remaining, Milwaukee and Nashville. Championship plus 41. Jacob Abel, though, is still very much in the mix with his experience level.
He absolutely is going to that oval heavy portion of the schedule. He targeted the end of the season as a chance to really make a run. But today, it's all about Kyle Collette.
And I think championship also matters. Think about it. This is not the era of Indy Lights or Indy NXT with 8, 10, 12 drivers. 19. So if you have a bad day and your chief competitor wins, you're losing a lot of points in the championship. How about Kyle Collette? Take it all in. He's used to winning at a big level. 3 wins in F3, but he's won in America. He's won one step away from IndyCar. Kyle Collette is an Indy NXT winner.
Kyle Collette getting out of the car here at this point. The helmet comes off. Got to get a little bit of help from the team to be able to do it. I'm expecting a big celebration from this young Brazilian, able to take his first victory in the Indy NXT series. Here he comes, your most recent Indy NXT victor, Kyle Collette. The big number 1 into the air. Here he's going to come around right now. Going to get a little bit of a hello from the Firestone Firehawk. And Kyle, I've got to ask you, you didn't have long to wait for this one here in the Indy NXT series, but taking this victory at such a historic track like Mid-Ohio, this has got to be special.
No, for sure it is my first win. I think we couldn't ask for a better weekend. We led every session and pole position, fastest lap. I mean, I think the car was great since Friday. The first lap I already felt really good, and we managed to put the weekend together, and I'm really happy. And yeah, thanks from all the HMD crew. They did an outstanding job with me.
Well, we've talked a little bit on the broadcast about the championship here at this point. We talked about in the preview that we've got to start including you in that conversation. Is this your announcement that you're ready to fight for a championship in 2024?
I will answer that question next Sunday this time. Let's see how my first oval race goes.
All right. Thank you, Kyle Collette.
I think that's pretty honest.
Very honest. And there's something about winning your first race here at Mid-Ohio. The upcoming races, we talked about the few ovals on the schedule: Iowa Speedway, Worldwide Technology, one more road course, but 4 ovals to finish the season out.
And that's what the schedule looks like, so much to still play for. And as mentioned, those 4 ovals, and next week is going to be a fantastic weekend with the Hy-V IndyCar weekend and the concerts. Luke Combs, Eric Church on Saturday, Kelsey Ballerini, Post Malone coming up on Sunday. Hope to see you in Iowa. And we'll have the broadcast here on Peacock coming up next weekend as we get set for the stretch run and Indy NXT. What a day for Kyle Collette. Now an Indy NXT winner. We'll see you at 1:30 on NBC for IndyCar from Mid-Ohio. Thanks for joining us.